Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. If you're new, my name is Bobby. Guys, this just popped up on my feed. A heated debate, Myron versus Sneako on Muslims in the country. We already heard Myron's take on Muslims in America, and we saw that he was very nationalistic, very patriotic. He took the side of America first rather than of the Muslims. Now it is interesting to see how he will defend his position against Sneako, who is a practicing Muslim. Guys, before we jump into the video, as always, if you enjoy my content, leave me a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and check out the links in the description box below to further support my work. Thank you very much for that, and now with no further ado, let's have a look.
They don't. Jesus. They all believe in Jesus.
They disagree with each other fundamentally.
But I would say
a lot of them say that each other are...
If they believe in Christ, they're a Christian to a degree. What denomination isn't really as relevant is if they believe in Jesus as their Lord and Savior, that makes them a Christian.
The Protestants criticize the Catholics for praying to Mary.
See, that's arguments within themselves, but in general, they're all Christians because they all believe in Jesus. There's different...
Yeah, but by your
Muslims,
logic...
for example, right?
Yeah, I wouldn't agree here. This is a very blanket statement. They're all Christians because they believe in Jesus. Who defines Christianity? Who is it, really? Who is the authority over Christianity? Who defines what a Christian is? If you go by the Orthodox Christian Church, which was the first church, then you would see that everybody outside of the Orthodox Christian Church is declared a heretic. So Roman Catholics are not Christians. Protestants obviously are not Christians, let alone Jehovah's Witness. So therefore, within Christianity, you do have infighting. They don't see themselves as one body. They do claim that the church is the body of Christ, and therefore, if you exit that particular church, there is no salvation for you. You as an outsider, as a bystander, Myron, would label them all as Christians. But guess what? The atheists would label everybody religious people without looking into it. However, religious people disagree, and so do Christians. They don't see each other as Christians.
The Protestants criticize the Catholics for praying to Mary.
See, that's arguments within themselves, but in general, they're all Christians because they all believe in Jesus. There's different...
Yeah, but by your
Muslims,
logic...
for example, right? There's Sunnis and there's Shia. But we don't look at them differently with our faith, honestly.
What?
We really don't. They pray in the same mosque. They do some funny shit.
They don't.
That's not all true.
But they pray in the same mosque in general.
Sometimes.
No.
There's some Shia mosques. But
they can pray along.
Okay, that is not true at all, and it just shows you the lack of knowledge that Myron has here when it comes down to Islam. There is an obvious Sunni and Shia divide, and as Sneako said correctly, yes, they are Shia mosques. They do pray differently.
By your logic,
they're not considered kuffars. They're not considered kafirs. They're just misguided. Sunni.
Says who? Again, according to you, there are plenty of Sunnis that will takfir Shias, of course, and will see them as kuffar.
I doubt you even a Muslim. You're probably a Shia, innit? You're probably a Shia, innit? They're all kuffar. They're all kuffar. What? Who could do anything about it? What? What? Shia kuffar, what? Do something.
By your logic, then only Protestant Christians should be the non-guests in America if it was founded by Protestant Christians.
No, because they're all Christians. I look at them all as Christians. Denominations, this is literally why the whole separation of church and state was a thing, was to avoid that problem, fights between themselves. So they literally instructed that in place to deal with that very problem you're talking about, which is like the different sects in Christianity.
Okay.
That's why the separation of church and state was instilled, was to keep Baptists, Protestants, Catholics, and all these other guys from fighting each other, because this is the problem that they had in England. With the Catholic Church and everything else.
You believe we're guests in our own country?
I believe as Muslims we are guests in America, yes, because America is not a Muslim country like Saudi Arabia, like Egypt, like Sudan, like UAE, like Qatar. These are Muslim countries. When we go there, we respect and we don't say a word. When we were in Dubai, we had jalabiyas on. I spoke Arabic whenever I had a chance. Right? We assimilated. We respected that culture, right? As even the first time before you reverted, we respected that culture because we understood we are guests there. I think Muslims need to exercise the same thing in the United States.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, that is total BS. They were actual visitors in those countries. They hold different nationalities. It has nothing to do with their religion. They simply were tourists, visitors in that country. However, you both are American citizens, and therefore your religion doesn't matter, especially not in a country where you have religious freedom, and therefore to perceive yourself as a guest in that country is ridiculous. Who is the owner of that country? The white man.
Literally visiting Dubai.
Yeah.
I was born here. Like, what do you, it doesn't...
Yeah, but the Islamic faith, we're American citizens, but the Islamic faith is not there's
nothing, I mean, you're just making up America, like
we're 1% of the population. That in itself proves that this is not a Muslim country.
You can single out anybody and say that they're a minority to some extent.
Exactly right.
It's not, you don't need to describe somebody just by their faith. You could say that your skin color is, or where you're from, or.
But when we're talking about
people
faith,
have glasses.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing.
Yep.
Hindus,
Amputees.
Jews, Muslims, we're all guests in America. Being honest.
Who's the owner?
I'm not just saying this is as Muslims we're guests. I think.
What about minorities? Are minorities guests in America?
Like, what do you mean minorities? Like blacks and shit like that? Or
anybody not
Asians?
White? Anybody not white?
Yeah, I mean, I would say, yeah.
We're also guests.
Yeah. White people built and founded this country, bro. We're all guests here.
Okay, so America is entitled to white Christians only. They're the only non-guests here. So you have to be founders. To be a true American, you need to be a white Christian.
I never said that.
That's exactly what you're saying. And as I said in the previous video when I reacted to Myron, the founding fathers, yes, some of them were Christian, but many of them were deists, Unitarians, etc. So therefore, again, what kind of Christian do you have to be? What kind of skin tone do you have to be part of this country and not only a guest?
I guess.
Nationalism is a sickness.
But we are guests here. Because we did not found this country. We're Americans, but like we're not...
Bro, who alive today founded the country? Nobody.
I guess... original Americans.
Okay, so what about Europeans, like people with second-generation Europeans who came here?
Well, I'm talking about like the people here that like their family's been here for generations, fought in the Revolutionary Wars, whatever.
Only those guys are Americans.
And my parents immigrated here after World War II, and I'm a white Christian, and my parents are from Germany. All right.
And you came here after World War II.
Am I a guest?
I would say from framers' perspective, if you came like you were here in the 1700s, like if you have lineage back to like the
Myron, man, what's going on, bro?
What is that, like 5% of the country?
Probably not as much, yeah. I mean, probably not.
So everyone's a guest here?
A lot, yeah.
So whose country is it? It's just those 5% of people?
I would say it's America is a white majority Christian country, and we are guests here, yeah. That's what I would say.
So the only...
He didn't even go into the argument. It is a white Christian nation. That's your claim here. So Sneako tells you, how about German immigrants from 2-3 generations ago that are white and Christians? But then you say they are guests because it is a white Christian country.
So 95% of people here are guests?
Yeah, dude, nowadays, yeah. With the mass immigration, yeah, you're right, yeah.
95% of people
A lot of them, yeah. A lot of them are
Wow,
guests.
this is so low IQ, bro.
And this is why we have a lot of the problems we have, because we have all these people coming in, bringing their cultures, not assimilating, not learning language. Like New York City, I'll give you an example. New York City is a perfect example. New York City is the definition of a melting pot. You got people from the Caribbean, from Africa.
It's always been that way.
That's
since like the 40s predominantly.
It's been, yeah. But it's
even before that, it's always been
even more so now.
With Ellis Island, the turn of the century, it's always
of course, and it's always the Statue of Liberty.
Man, Myron, bro, you're from Sudan or something. What are you even talking about? America is a new type of country. It is a country built on immigration. So therefore, from the get-go, you had diversity. Yes, the founding fathers were white, but the indigenous population obviously wasn't. The slaves weren't. All of that intermixed over generations, man.
Everybody, give us your week.
What is this? This is not...
But the point I'm trying to make is like New York City is a perfect example of like why this multiculturalism, mass multiculturalism doesn't work a lot of the times. Like I think New York City is a failed city.
It's really safe. This is the least amount of crime we've had in a while.
Bro, New York City,
summer,
okay, that's fine. But
how
like,
is it a failed city? It's a great city.
It's a failed city, bro.
But based on what
I think it's a failed city. Crime metrics, dirtiness, cost of living has been going through the roof as the decades pass. I think New York City is a failed city, bro. And I think
so. When was New York City?
And if it were not for its historic and premier position as a major city in the United States, it would be degraded even further.
So when was New York not failed? In the 70s, there were prostitutes all over Times Square. Drugs were worse. Crime was worse. Giuliani did fix a lot of that stuff.
Giuliani did fix a lot. The 90s was actually the most. 1990 was the most murders.
Okay, the mafia was running it in the 50s.
Mm-hmm.
So it was it was failed then.
I think it was better than it is now. Yeah.
Okay.
But it wasn't.
I think it was better than, because here's the thing, right? So here's the difference. When the mafia was running things and they were involved in crime or whatever, they were killing each other, right? They were like killing each other, like other made guys. Hey, you have a problem with this family, whatever. Yeah, the violence sucked and everything else like that. But it isn't like.
But those were immigrants too, right?
It's worse.
Not Americans.
The 70s was the worst decade, by the way, for crime. But I think New York City has gotten worse as it's become more and more of a bro. Mass immigration in itself creates a lot of problems.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, so I think, and New York City is like a
There is no argument, no statement at all. In the 70s, it was worse. Now it is better, but mass migration is the issue.
Beautiful personification.
Okay, bro.
Yeah, but mass immigration creates problems.
People say that.
Then
like,
move
visit
back
New
to
York.
Sudan, bro. Do us a favor.
Us having this majority of guests has actually created a lot of problems for us because now everyone's like me and you.
Okay, so
learn English language, like assimilate to the culture,
should the guests
respect the culture.
Should the American?
Not everybody's like you and me, Sneako. Learn English, assimilate into the culture. Sneako was born in America. Why wouldn't he have learned English, man?
Yeah, like who should be deported from America?
People that are here illegally. People that are here illegally. Yeah, get deported.
And what about the people in Dearborn playing, the Adon? Should they be deported?
If they're here illegally, yeah. If they're here illegally, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so case closed. If they're legally, all good.
Think it's fair to the other residents of Dearborn to play the Adon multiple times a day just because you enjoy a slight majority. It's only like 50, 60% Muslim majority there. And let me rephrase. It's 50, 60% Arabs and people from North Africa, which you can assume 90% of them are going to be Muslim, so you can assume that it's a slight majority. I don't think it's fair to the other 40% in the United States that they have to deal with listening to the Adhan 5 times a day. Yeah. I don't think that's fair.
Yeah, I mean, just to go back to
because I truly don't think America is a Muslim country, and we don't have the numbers to even represent.
But it's also not a Christian. It's not a Christian country. It's just not.
I think it's a Christian country. And we can
disagree there. Bro, where is the argument, Myron? You simply say, I think, I see it this way. You didn't provide one argument at all, man.
The Constitution.
What kind of discussion is this?
To become a citizen.
I don't think it has to declare it.
There's freedom of religion and that's.
I don't feel.
If you're actually going to talk about what it means to be an American, if you look at the amendments and you look at the rights that we have, it has nothing to do with being a Christian.
Again, just because it's not in the Constitution, so to speak, right? Or maybe even the Bill of Rights or whatever does not mean
which defines America.
And they probably did that on purpose, right?
To not declare it as a Christian, as a single religion's country. Well, that's the whole reason they did that. So
exactly
I'm
right.
Follow what the founding fathers said.
They escaped the Church of England for exactly this reason. So you have religious freedom. Islam was part of America from the first day.
Yeah, but here's the thing. America does have an identity, whether people want to accept it or not. And this is where we can have the disagreement.
What's the identity?
The American identity
is
a majority white country that's a Christian nation. That is the American identity, unfortunately. And I'll give you an example.
Unfortunately.
If you go to Japan or China or whatever, and you envision an American, what are they going to envision, right? At least now. They're going to envision, or at least historically, before the mass immigration, a Caucasian individual eating a hamburger that's fat. That's what they think of Americans. Hillbilly, whatever the fuck it may be.
Okay,
yeah, bro, that makes perfect sense. Let's base the identity of a nation on a stereotype envisioned by Japanese people. Absolutely. Arabs are just like Americans see them and stereotype them. Absolutely, this is how it works. Man, this is ridiculous. Are we going into anecdotes now? Okay, let's do it. When I was a little child in the 90s, I was envisioning an American to look like Michael Jordan. That's what I was thinking about when I was thinking about America. Is that true now? Is the prototype of an American Michael Jordan? No, America is and always has been a diverse country.
People think of it, and that is.
Why do you hate yourself so much, man?
That's what it is.
A fat hillbilly, but not a.
I'm saying the stereotype. That's how they would stereotype it. But they would envision a Caucasian American with an American accent, whatever. Like if you're trying to have the American, what's the word I want to use here? Like emblem, right? Like if you went to a country and you say you need someone to like be able to identify something right off without saying a word, what would you use? You would use a white person with some jorts, a cowboy hat, right? Maybe an American flag, and be like, okay, what is this person? An American.
Oh my God. Okay, and this is why nationalism and any other ideology outside of Islam is so feeble and ridiculous, because it is temporary and it changes consistently. Even now, you're identifying as a conservative. The conservative values now are the same values that liberals held 30, 40 years ago. So it's consistently shifting. It is always changing. There is no basis, neither of morality nor of any other godly standard. So therefore, Islam is never changing and upholds values consistently. Who cares that you are stereotyping an American as a white, fat hillbilly? Tomorrow it's going to be something else. Yesterday it was something else. It's always changing. Why would we hold on to such feeble ideades?
That's what they would think.
What's the value?
Right. Versus if they gave me and you, it would be harder for them because they would be like, I don't know. We'd maybe have to speak English. These are the things they'd have to like figure out. They'd have to figure out that we're American. But if you're saying, if your life depended on it, right? If let's say you played a game, right? And your life depended on it, and you needed the person to guess what you're trying to convey, or else you die. And what you needed to convey was an American. What would you draw? You would draw a white individual with some fucking overalls, cowboy hat, a fucking piece of wheat in their teeth, right? Maybe chewing some tobacco, maybe a little overweight, eating a hamburger, right? And an American flag, because if your life depended on it, that's what you would use. You would not use.
Bro,
me.
is this like 3-year-olds?
Even though these people can all be Americans, but there is a
this?
stereotypical image of what an American is. Now, let's be honest. That is changing because...
Man, Myron, what you're talking about is essentially ethnic nation states, ethnocentrism. And yes, if we're talking about Europe or we're talking about Asia, then yes, those little mini nations, there you could still apply this logic. Yes, we do understand how a German looks like. Yes, we do understand when an African migrates to Germany, he's not an ethnic German. Yes, we do understand what a Japanese person is. Yes, we do understand what an Indian person is, etc., you name it. We do understand that you are ethnically African. We get it. We do understand that Sneako is ethnically mixed. He's diverse. Okay, we understand all of that. However, yet again, America is the new world. America is not an ethnocentric nation. It never has been, no matter who the founding fathers were. And therefore, you have a melting pot. You always had, and you always will have it. There is no American ethnicity. If you have a white American, then he's probably German, Dutch, Irish, or anything of those things mixed together.
Because of mass immigration or whatever. But the reality is, when you think of an American
talking about race.
that hasn't been here before, that's what comes to mind. Okay. Country music, overalls, cowboy boots,
and anything
cowboy
that's
hat.
not that should not
and
be allowed.
And that is a minority now.
I didn't say that it shouldn't be allowed. I said that I think
you said that they shouldn't be able to pray in public.
I think praying in public and disrupting others while praying in public is a problem.
No one was disrupted.
Bro, you're disrupting. You admitted it. 20 minutes disruption. I think it's still a problem.
Disrupting what? What does that mean? What does that mean?
People want to go to Times Square, bro.
They were Times Square wasn't closed. I agree that you shouldn't be able to like shut down streets.
Yeah.
If like whenever you want.
And just so you know, my haters, that's what they're arguing with me. It's like we should be able to shut down streets and do what we want to do.
But that's not what we did. You said that's what we did.
That's not what they said.
No, but you said that's what people in Times Square. That's not what happened. The street was still open.
Okay,
it's just the people that were gathered there. Okay, but it's just.
And here's another thing too. They've definitely shut down areas in other places, whether in the UK. Playing that down multiple times a day, playing it in Minneapolis, playing it in...
Nobody's shutting down anything, if at all. Then there were controlled demonstrations, and this is government controlled, just as if leftists, vegans, or anybody holds a demonstration, then certain areas of the city are supervised by cops, etc. So this is not exclusive to Islam.
Dearborn, etc. This is all disruptive to other people that aren't Muslims. And I know you're saying, oh, it wasn't a big deal. We prayed in public. Like, it was 20 minutes, not a big deal, whatever. I still think that that is disrespectful and rude because we know in a Muslim country, a bunch of Christians wouldn't be able to gather.
But you could do what you want in public like that. Like, I remember in 2011.
Complete BS. Okay, really, complete BS. I cannot hear it anymore. Oh, Muslim countries, the poor Christians, they cannot do anything. Oh my God, man. Watch this clip. So next time somebody tells you, oh, the poor Christians, they cannot pull that off in Arab countries, simply show them this. Oh my God.
I want to get 50 Christians and have them publicly gather and
they don't really pray like that.
And pray.
Christians don't.
And pray in a symbolic, in a Muslim country.
You just saw it.
They area.
You said they would get beheaded if they did that.
I was exaggerating, but there would be problems. The police would show up and be like, get the fuck out of here.
Nope.
If they were praying?
If Christians showed up, this is okay.
Man, just look into Muslim countries. They still have minorities of Christians that are up to 20% and more. Actually, Lebanon, I think the Christian population is 40 or 50% even.
Showed up. Let's say 50 Christians, right? What is the Times Square equivalent in
Also, you said if they did that in Mecca, then they would be beheaded.
Exaggerating.
That was a ridiculous comparison. Comparing Times Square to Mecca.
Okay, Times Square and Mecca is not the same. I mean, obviously being hyperbolic and exaggerating, but let's go ahead and give a functional equivalent.
Times Square. Okay, Riyadh.
Let's say,
Dubai. Actually, no, Riyadh's not even. I would say the closest example in the Middle East to Times Square is like the Dubai Mall.
No, that's not a symbolic.
Yeah, fair enough.
Times Square.
Let's say,
the most commercial area in New York City.
Yeah, I'm trying to think in the Middle East. Where would it?
Dubai Mall.
I would Dubai Mall.
He's right.
What's even close?
He's right.
If we took an area,
a commercial area,
let's say maybe the Burj Khalifa or some shit like that in Dubai, UAE, right? Hypothetically,
which is right next to Dubai Mall, man. What the hell, bro?
It's a commercial area. It's a one building.
Bro, it's next to Dubai Mall.
I don't know.
Burj Khalifa, Dubai Mall.
Okay, 50 Christians pray outside the Burj Khalifa.
Yeah, if they prayed outside the Burj Khalifa out loud with speakers and shit like that,
no one cares.
I think the police would tell them, "What are you guys doing?" They would definitely be like, "What are y'all doing, bro?"
They say praying.
And they'd be like, yeah, I got to go to a church. Like, there would be, they would not be able to do it as freely as you guys did in Times Square, is my point. They would not be able to. There would be,
again,
like,
you saw the clip. They are.
Would that be a faith thing?
You guys. And this is just the proof. You know, the first time that I reacted to Myron, I was really balanced, really held back. But he always repeats, you guys. So therefore, those are not my words here. He is distancing himself from being a Muslim. He says, you guys pray, you do this, you do that. So Myron, my question here truly is, are you a Muslim? Do you identify as a Muslim?
The UAE is much more heavily policed than New York. Like,
well, that goes to my precise point that, you know, it's a Muslim country and they're not standing for that. Versus if you decided to pray.
It depends on the organization. If the Muslim Brotherhood, for example, would try to pull something off like that in Dubai, they would be kicked out as well. So therefore, it has not only to do with religion here. Dubai is very organized.
50 Christians were standing there praying like this.
There would be, and they had loudspeakers and all this other shit, bro. There'd be a problem in the UAE. There would absolutely be a problem. Versus, and they had loudspeakers and they did what you guys did.
So your argument is that the US should be more like the UAE?
No, I'm saying that what I'm saying is that level of tolerance is not acceptable in Muslim countries. And it's unfair for us.
Because they don't have freedom of speech the same way we do.
Yeah, but it most definitely is.
America is based off of free speech. That's why they can do that.
Yeah.
It's not really a faith thing. It's just a principle thing.
Well, again, like I said before, that would not be tolerated in a Muslim country. Right? It would not be tolerated in a Muslim country. And we respect that.
Tolerated in a Muslim country.
Rules. They don't have like the freedom of speech doctrine the same way we do.
And what I'm saying is, since they don't have that there, we can't come here and expect, oh yeah, well, we want to go ahead and be able to do whatever we want. You get what I'm saying? I'm talking about like.
No, he doesn't get what you're saying. It doesn't make sense.
Want to do what they want
to do. Most people that came to Times Square,
or even Muslims that are Americans,
most of the people there were all born in America. Of
course. But what I'm saying is that like that would not be allowed in another Muslim country. So I look at it like it's fair. Like if you can't do that, if Christians can't go to a Muslim country and openly pray the same way that Muslims do in the United States.
But okay, man, you don't get it here. You say that Christians go to a Muslim country and then they do something. So therefore, yes, that might not be allowed when a foreign group enters a country and tries to pull anything off. However, the indigenous population of Christians within Arab lands are free to practice.
I think it just shows respect to not openly do it here.
You know,
because we're guests.
There's more Christian.
Why are you a guest? He's born here.
That's very important.
What kind of guest?
Just because you could doesn't mean you should.
Pray in public?
Yeah, just because you could, I don't think you should, especially as a guest. Because you could go to your friend's house.
Sneako, you're a guest, bro. Leave the country already. Myron for president.
Yeah, I know, but
they're not going to want to have you back.
But this is not my friend's house. This is my country.
See, that's
my country, man.
That's that entitlement. Why niggas hate Muslims, bro? This is why people don't like Muslims, bro.
Because I was born here?
No, because they have this mindset of like, oh well.
I'm not a guest, but you think if people hate me because I don't think like I'm a guest in my own country, then they can hate me.
But the faith is the religion. You are a guest when you practice the religion. You are practicing a religion.
It makes me a guest to practice a different religion.
No. You're practicing a religion that is not the moral fabric of this country, and you're doing it especially, here's the other thing, you're doing it openly when you have access to do it privately. That's rude and disrespectful to the host nation.
Wow, Myron, man, you must really hate yourself, bro. What is rude and disrespectful in practicing a religion in a country that has religious freedom as somebody that was born in that country?
Just because you could.
That's the most American thing.
And that's the problem that a lot of these Muslim guys don't get. Like
praying is rude?
No. Publicly and disrupting others, yes, absolutely.
Absolutely. I don't find, and also you said asserting dominance.
And this is why so many people
don't. The most submissive thing you could do, literally.
And this is why people don't like Muslims, because they have this mindset of, we're going to pray what we want. We're going to do what we want.
Yeah, okay, he just confirmed it again. This is why people don't like Muslims. So you're not a Muslim, huh?
You can't do nothing because it's a free country. Just because it's a free country.
That's not why people hate Muslims.
Doesn't mean this is a big reason why they dislike them.
People hate Muslims. I think you actually. I think you fell for the recent propaganda. Like so, right now, you know, people are getting paid $7K to push Israeli propaganda. I think,
of course.
I think that's part of it. Is making people.
Oh yeah, they're going to make them hate Muslims.
Making people hate Muslims.
Of course.
You try to do that, man.
And this is why I'm saying these things.
No,
I'm saying these things because I don't want, because I know that they're going to push this propaganda. I know they're going to push it.
People hate Muslims because of 15, 20, 30 years of propaganda. Because of framing 9/11 and blaming all Arabs for 9/11.
I agree with that.
They hate Muslims 100%. Because of Israeli propaganda.
100%
Not
agree.
because of people praying. Not because I prayed in Times Square.
No.
The hatred of Muslims has nothing to do.
Here's the thing.
With 100. Dearborn is 100,000 people. It's a small city.
Yep.
Like this, the reason you're saying it's because some people prayed in public when it's really due to the strongest propaganda machine of all time.
Absolutely. I love that you said that. I understand as someone that worked in national security, that worked in terrorism, etc. Right? I understand this to a deep degree that other people don't. The disdain for Muslims, I agree with you. It came from the war on terror. It came from 9/11. It came from the propaganda and the lies that Israeli neocons push, saying Muslims are the enemy, Muslims are the enemy, Muslims are the enemy. There you go, man. I agree with you on that.
Good.
What I'm saying is, we already have a bad rap, unfortunately, in the West.
And now he says we.
Praying in public and disrupting people doesn't help our cause. Because I know how much they hate us, and I know that the Jews have been pushing this bullshit. I understand it. That's why I'm saying, we already have a bad rap here. Why are we going to go ahead and make it work?
I have to interrupt it real quick and read a surah out of the Quran. Never will the Jews or Christians be pleased with you until you follow their faith. Say, Allah's guidance is the only true guidance. And if you were to follow their desires after all the knowledge that has come to you, there would be none to protect or help you against Allah. And this is really what it boils down to. The propaganda is already out. People hate Muslims. They will never be happy with them either way. No matter if you pray outside or not, it won't change anything. What will it change, man? You will be more timid. You will hide your faith. And like that, surely the Christian masters and the Jewish masters, they will love us.
The misunderstanding.
Who cares?
A lot of people think it's crazy. So the misunderstanding from the average American, they think Allahu Akbar is a call for terrorism. That really means God is the greatest.
Yeah.
So when people in Times Square see, actually, I could tell you from experience being there, when they say, like, what are you guys doing? They're like, oh, we're praying because it's Ramadan. They're like, oh, that's cool. When they learn what it actually is, it's like, it changes their mind about it. Because a lot of people have this idea that it's a violent, oppressive, terrible religion. Yeah. And they see like,
true.
Oh, actually, we're not asserting dominance, but doing the most submissive act, praying to God, putting your head on the floor. They're like, oh, wow, wait, this is, and they hear the Quran, like, oh, this is kind of peaceful. I kind of like it. It changes their perception. It actually is dawah. So everything else going on in Times Square is chaos, is drug deals, it's just stupid stuff everywhere. Yeah. And so these people, what are you guys doing? They look over. I talk to people afterwards like, this is a time where we're fasting and prayer is extra important right now. So we all got together to pray. And they're like, oh, it's kind of cool.
Fair. Now, I see your perspective, but this is New York City where people are liberal. They're more open-minded. They want to learn. Fair. But you got to understand that most of America isn't like that.
Amazing.
That's why I think that you fell for the propaganda. Because people use that on social media.
But they did it in Times Square. No, they didn't do it anywhere else.
Yeah, I think these are 7K posts trying to and they put a caption like, look at them taking over Times Square. It's like, no, we didn't take over Times Square. We didn't disrupt anyone. This is a section where we just prayed.
Here's the thing, bro. Here's the thing. I know that the propaganda is out there. So me and you have a different way to deal with it. I'm saying the propaganda is out there. Let's not make it worse. You're saying the propaganda is out there. Let's change their mind. I'm saying they're not changing their mind.
They are, though.
Like, we both agree.
They are changing their mind.
Let's
but wait,
we agree.
So if they're not changing their mind, who cares then? Then who cares? Then you can do whatever you will and it won't change their mind anyways. You can pray outside, inside, on the rooftop. It won't change their mind. So what is the argument here? Sneako, on the other hand, thinks, well, this is dawah and it might change their mind.
Here's a common ground.
Who cares?
We both agree that Jews pushed out anti-Muslim propaganda for the past 30 years. We agree. 100%. I agree.
And a lot of Christians. Many Christians at the same.
I agree. They push out that we're violent. They push out that we're fucking heathens, that we're, brutes. We don't understand
And
peace.
Now we're guests on our own home.
Bullshit. I agree with you that
that's what Myron
propaganda has been led by fucking neocon Jews. Agreed. Now, your response to that is, let's get them to understand our religion and let's we pray. Hopefully they'll be, open-minded and they'll want to learn. Cool. Some people will. My argument is I think most people won't. And I think, given the propaganda that's been pushed in America for so goddamn long, that these fucking gay-ass Jews have been pushing, saying, Islam is bad, these guys are jihadists, they want to kill everybody, etc.
It's not just Jews saying that.
It's a lot of stupid Christians, that evangelical Christians believed it as well. You're right. They've been pushing it. This is what a lot of Americans think. So when we openly pray. When we do these things, what do they assume? They assume that we're trying to assert dominance and we're trying to take the country over. And then you have other Muslims saying,
that's what you
we're going to
assume,
spread
man.
Islam all across the place with this propaganda. Again, it's propaganda. I agree with you, it's propaganda. My argument to this push by the Jews now propaganda is we need to be measured and understand that we need to operate in a way where people don't understand the religion and most people don't care to understand the religion. You're operating from a position of, they want to understand, they should understand. That's the good way.
Who cares?
Bro,
what's
if
the point?
wanted to understand the religion,
but I'm not going to
awesome.
play into the rage bait. Like, I'm not going to let that win.
I'm saying most Americans don't care and they don't want to understand.
I don't find that to be true. I think that this is an echo chamber on Twitter. I think that this is due to propaganda posts, and most normal people don't think the way that you see on the, like a small minority online.
I'm telling you, bro. I'm telling you, it's a silent majority of people that do not like Islam and they don't trust Muslims. They look at us like we're wild and we're gonna take over and all this shit. And I think that us praying outside exacerbates the problem. And there's other ways to go about it.
Like, changing the narrative is not, being more submissive and like acting more like a guest and abiding by the lies and operating around that. It's showing the truth and being comfortable who you are.
I think it's operating on the reality of where we stand as a nation, where people...
Cowering is not the way to change it.
It's not about cowering. It's about understanding
hiding
where you're
in
at.
private. Like, I can only pray in private because I don't want the people who hate me to hate me more.
See, you're going extreme.
That's
I'm
what
not
you
saying
said.
it's about private.
You said you should pray in private so that people who hate me don't hate me more.
Go to the mosque. Pray at your house.
Privately.
Yeah.
So you're saying pray privately so people hate me don't hate me more.
Bro, we have a bad reputation.
That's exactly what he says.
Do you think exacerbating the problem and praying out in public and blocking off streets and doing all this shit is the way to go? I don't think so. I think that makes people hate us even more.
Operating in fear because of lies is not the way to change it.
It's not about operating in fear. It's about operating...
All right, guys, and the clip cuts off there. That is fine because the discussion wasn't going anywhere. It wasn't really fruitful after all. Myron is set in his ways. To point out the positive here, in the end at least, he identified as we with the Muslims, which I like to hear, of course. May Allah guide him truly. But that being said, his perspective is so flawed and self-refuting, of course. He sees himself as a guest in that country, even though he has been born in that country, as far as I know. Sneako most definitely has been born in that country. Moreover, Sneako has been born as a Christian in that country, and he took his American liberty to explore other religions, and then he accepted Islam. That is the most American thing you can do. America is not a Christian nation. You're speaking about propaganda. Well, then speak about the neocon propaganda about America being a Christian nation. This is not what it is whatsoever. Look into the founding fathers. Those people were not Christians. They escaped Christian persecution, if you will, the Church of England, and came to America to establish a new way of life where you do have religious freedom, and Islam was included there. We talked about the Thomas Jefferson Library, where you can find a Quran. So from the get-go, America was always all-encompassing when it comes down to religions, especially Islam. And moreover, as Sneako said correctly, you won't accomplish anything if you're cowering away. The truth is the truth. And I already said that in my last video. If we're speaking about truth, what is it? It must be the highest value, of course. So when we're talking about conservative talking points, such as gender, then you will agree. There's only male and female, only two genders. Everything else is false. Everything else is a lie. Everything else is untrue. So therefore, we want to find out biological truth. But how about spiritual truth? How about the truth of existence? What is this? What is the purpose of life? As Muslims, we believe that there is no higher goal, no higher purpose than worshiping God alone and abstaining from all kinds of idolatry. So therefore, we believe in this truth and we will speak for that truth, just as you like to speak for America first, conservatism, patriotism, nationalism, race realism, etc., you name it. That is fine because you have freedom of speech in America. So therefore, yet again, you're born in America, you like to practice whatever religion, be it Buddhism, Hinduism, Jainism, whatever, it is your given right. And as American Muslims, it is your right to practice your religion freely. Who are those Muslims? Immigrants. Man, how many Muslims in America are just black Americans? How many Muslims in America are just like Sneako, mixed people? Those are Americans, they're not guests. But honestly, it must be so exhausting to be Myron, really. As a black Sudani Muslim that runs a podcast in America, a successful podcast in America that is run by a bunch of black people, to hold the white people in such high regard, to go on shows with other white people and to speak down on black people.
Bruh. Oh, black. And it's a black kid, too.
Incredible.
If you're a single man and, you know, a single mom wants you, you just say, sorry, you know, maybe.
She's not even hot. I saw her walk by. What the fuck?
No, she's not hot enough to put up with a black
Hell
kid.
no.
This level of schizophrenic self-hatred must be so draining to you, man. Why do you do this to yourself? Simply accept who you are, man. You're black, that is fine. You're a successful man. You worked for the government. Now you run your own podcast. That is amazing. You accomplished that. As a black Muslim, be proud of your identity. Why do you want to please your white masters? And this comes from somebody from European descent. Anyways, I had enough. If you liked the video, leave it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and check out the links in the description box below to further support my work. Thank you very much for that, guys, and as always, may God bless you all. Much love and peace.
يا نفس إن لم تظفري لا تجزعي